We are Swedish Moderators, and we are going to do the presentation Insects and Insights. This is my colleague Lena, and my name is Karina. So we are based in, our agency is based in Stockholm, and we also have an office in Lund, in the south of Sweden, very near Copenhagen and Malmö. So we also have two more partners. It's Max and Katarina. They are not here with us today, but maybe some of you met them last year in Berlin at the Qual 360.
And we have partners in all the Nordic and Scandinavian countries as well.
Yes, we do. So except for fulfilling our clients' needs regarding insights, we also have a trend panel with young adults where we discuss, future trends, global trends. And this presentation is going to be about a study we made with this panel, and we were discussing future food habits on behalf of our brave client, Maison Pierre. It's a catering service and a restaurant. So a little bit of a background, just to mention. 10 years from now, slow-cooked food will be totally out. I think the first presentation yesterday discussed this a little bit. So we need food that should be, it must be quick, fast, efficient, and nutrition conscious. And it's not only about the environment, it's also about how to get enough protein while cutting down on meat. And is protein powder and pills the solution? For us, we cannot eat all this meat, or maybe could insects be the solution? So maybe you think this sounds a bit obnoxious, but actually insects are eaten in 80% of the countries in the world. But we in the West have so far been an exception. And why is that? It's a bit strange, maybe. You think that, insects, why should we eat them? It's gross. But we eat seafood. This is giant insects, actually. Lobster, prawns, crayfish,
typical Swedish.
And they are actually more related to relatives to insects than fish, actually. So think about that. Yeah. So, but if you think about a bit smaller insects, many of you think it's gross. Maybe it has something to do that they destroy our crops and harvest. I don't know. I don't have an answer of that. We are in good company. The WHO are pointing out that insects' potential is very good and could be like the future protein source from a world perspective. And also the United Nations states that insects could actually be a part of the solution to the world's global problems with water and food. We have a challenge there, So in Sweden, actually, we are not allowed to eat insects. It's a problem, maybe. I don't know. You can eat insects at restaurants here, for instance. In Amsterdam, you can eat insects in New York. You can get it at a restaurant in Paris. But even though we apply within the same rules in the EU, the Swedish National Food Administration states that we should not eat them yet because they need to approve them. And that's because we can maybe be allergic, some allergens in, And what else? I was going to say that also stevia and chia seeds had to wait for a long time before they were approved in Sweden. So we discussed with our trend panel with young adults regarding this. About the environment, food, and the view of the world's resources. So here is the panel, some of them, and they discussed and mentioned that eating vegetarian, organic, and locally produced food, it's not only about the global issues and spare sources. It's also about taking care of your body and your health and well-being. And also, they discussed a lot about, the trend is avoiding carbs, but still you need to get enough with protein. It's a kind of eating trend. And we also asked them also maybe that insects could be the solution, and are we heading towards an insects trend? And the panel definitely believed so, but there were many questions, it's just about the habit and the cultural context, and we get used to it. Maybe now it's a bit odd, but maybe we can get used to it. But there were so many questions. How do you cook them? Is it yummy? How do you prepare? And it's a lot about figures also. How much should you eat to get enough with the protein? And how much meat would 400 flies correspond to, for example? It was really a really interesting discussion.
You will see some clips about this soon. Yeah.
So over to you.
Yeah, and this we will not go too deep into the detailed findings, but we have found some facts that may interest and also educate you. Stay there. So. Okay, here we are in the pan. Yeah. Facts that besides what Karina already told us, she gave the insight that vegetarian, organic, and locally produced food attract the millennials in our hometown, Stockholm, Sweden, like in many other cities in the Western world. But one finding that I can say the study gave is that insects offer high exchange. Crickets, for example, require only 2 kilograms of feed for every 1 kilogram of body weight gain. In addition, insects can be reared on organic side streams, including human and animal waste. And cricket floors contain as much as 67% protein, more than double in meat. And the composition of unsaturated omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in mealworms is comparable with that in fish, and higher than in cattle and pigs, of course. And the protein, vitamin, and mineral content in mealworms is similar to that in fish and meat. That was quite new for us and for some in the panel as well. Insects are also reported to emit fewer greenhouse gases, less than 1% compared to cattle per gram protein, and less ammonia than cattle or pigs. And they require significantly less land and water than cattle rearing these small creatures. So we can see that insects actually provides a great nutrition value. But we are humans, and humans don't eat just to get nutrition. We want enjoyment, we want a pleasant experience. So how does it look and how does it taste?
So we serve the panel some dishes, actually.
Yeah, and you can have a quick look for yourself.
Yeah.
To the left is mealworms in chocolate. To the right, salmon in insect breading. This is salad with worms, fried crickets in sweet and sour onion sauce. And to the right, potato cake in buffalo worms breeding. This is prepared by excellent chefs at Maison Pierre, our client. But is it really yummy? Well, let's see for ourselves. You will now see a short video. Please, yeah.
Choosing our food carefully is a growing trend. We want what we eat to be fast, efficient, and nutritious. Equally important is that our food doesn't have a negative impact on our environment. So, are protein powders and pills the future solution, or can insects and bugs be the next trend? Swedish Moderators invited a panel of young adults to discuss their thoughts on the future of food. A major concern at the moment is how to go about getting enough protein while cutting down meat and other animal proteins. Eating insects is something the panel have heard of before. They see it as an upcoming trend and as a way of getting one's intake of protein in a natural and an environmentally conscious way. The panel were aware that insects are already used as a source of protein in many countries, but the thought of eating insects themselves still felt a bit scary.
And I think that talking about it before really eased your mind, because we talked about eating brain and eating snails and everything, and then you're like, what's the difference?
The panel definitely believe we are all on our way into an insect trend. However, they see the need for more information on the health effects of eating bugs. The positive impact on the environment is another important piece of the puzzle.
It was very interesting to hear about the insects and the protein and what's in it, and how it could be a possible health effect. If a very known brand could produce something like that, I would buy it.
Everyone in the panel were curious about how to prepare appetizing dishes based on insects. The restaurant Maison Pierre, who is considering insects on its menu as a future source of protein, produced several dishes with larvae and crickets that the panel tasted.
So what we did to help our client, this modern and quite brave restaurant and catering company, Maison Pierre, and to reach out in the world, was to use our trend panel of young adults who were the core target of the client. And we discussed the subject. And we also made this film regarding the results and the whole process, which also helped the client to understand the quite positive reactions these young, open-minded trend group had. And then we promoted the film via social media, and we are also here, so you can see it. Well, and now we
will serve some chocolate, if you dare.